Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. Today, co-host is Julian. How you doing today?
Doing all right. A little tired. We will pick it up. It's been a bit of a more quiet weekend for the international break, but
Yeah.
I kind of like that because I know that the next couple of days for Champions League are going to be absolutely on fire. So
Yeah, definitely.
we need the time off for a minute.
Did you watch any of the international games?
I did not. I saw Zinchenko's celebration for his daughter. He gave like a little wave or something to his daughter, and I guess their wife took a video or a picture of her watching it, so that was very cool. But other than that, I didn't get to see much.
I think Germany is Japan, and after that, Hansen Flick, the coach, got fired.
Yep.
Fiasco. Three lost games in a row. So
Yeah.
I think that was my highlight.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty impressive, and like because we had gotten together to watch one of the MLS games on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we saw that news come out, and you were more surprised than me. I mean, I feel like Germany's been kind of a lackluster squad for the last couple of years anyway, despite the names on the roster.
That's
Like,
why.
I don't really care who's on the roster. If they're not performing, they're not performing. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of weird because somebody told me, well, it's Japan. I was like, whoa, that's Germany. They got
Yeah.
they got the young team and they got good players at each position. So I don't know what's wrong with them. Might be the coach.
But also what Japan has done for the last two World Cups as well is that they play very exciting. They play very forward, very aggressive. They're not afraid to make mistakes.
Definitely.
And what that does, that puts obviously the opposing team on more of a defensive route than they maybe foreseen themselves getting into. And so Japan, yeah, they will make some mistakes, but at the end of the day, they'll keep pressing you. They're almost like an international Napoli
yeah.
in that way. They're just going to run down your throat, and they're not afraid to for things to go wrong because they would rather fail trying than to succeed not trying their hardest. I think I like them.
Well, that was crazy for me. It's like, how would you do that? I mean, it's
Well, and it really has been for like 8 years or so. The idea of like on paper, they're like this German squad should be absolutely amazing. And
yes,
in club football, most of their players do well. You know what I mean? Like it's once they get back together, there's not something is missing from the puzzle.
Yeah.
But all right, let's kick in. Let's go. You wanted to talk a little bit more about Louis van Gaal.
Yeah, let's look at what he said.
All right.
Did you hear any of what he said?
Yeah. I got the gist of it. The Messi not being a team player. Do you have the article pulled up or anything?
I think I might have.
You might have taken more notes than me anyway. But yeah, I get what he's saying to a degree. It's like he's definitely wrong.
Yes.
Overall, but I do understand how Messi, a team should be built around that kind of a player. So like I don't see, because didn't he compare him to James Milner? Or he said James Milner was a great example of a team player, and you're like, okay, but that's not Messi. And like they're different. They're different players, different positions, different athletic composition and makeup, different skills on the ball. So like if you're going to compare Messi to a team player, they need to probably be playing in a similar position, because their roles and responsibilities are completely different. It's like, I don't know, it's like saying that a quarterback and a running back, like the quarterback's the better team lead. Well, yeah, it's a different position entirely. Yeah. One is predicated on communication and the other one is fulfilling a singular task.
Yeah, so. That's definitely interesting. I think one of the things that, I don't know what brought it up, that suddenly he would just say, hey, the World Cup was designed for Messi to win. He said, if you see how Argentina gets the goals and how we get the goals and how some of Argentina's players cross the line and weren't punished, then I think it's preconceived. It's preconceived game, meaning this was a game already. The winner was already known.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And being Van Gaal and being a manager of that caliber, saying outlandish stuff like that, I don't know if that's really good. I don't know if it's just
if the game was scripted for Messi to win, it wouldn't have gone to penalties, would it?
Everybody
that's a little too risky, because the thing about it, and I do think that rigging sports is interesting because certain sports are easier to rig than others. obviously, you look at boxing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that was the number one most fixed sport of all time.
Yes.
Because it's ultimately 3 people that have to be in on the play. It's easier to take dives. It's easier to count people down or give great. You know what I mean? Like it's only 3 people in on the whole task. Whereas American football, European football, 22 guys on the pitch at one time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Multiple referees, camera angles. Like, yeah, it's not. That's not the sport that's that easy to fix without it being calling attention to the fact that it could be rigged. And I mean, like there has been match fixing in the past, usually in Italy.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's usually from calls from the ref, questionable calls, and that's the whole point. Is that if you're going to rig the outcome of an athletic contest, it can't be a point of debate, not in terms of whether or not it was the right call or not, but was that fixed? Because like we can always debate about like that wasn't a foul, but like when it's too obvious to where you're like, not only was that not a foul, that felt rigged.
Yes,
it's got to be pretty obvious, and I don't understand what Van Gaal is saying.
Yeah, because you look at the format of the World Cup itself when it was playing. Why would I go to the penalties if I wanted to fix the game?
Yeah.
If it was a fixed game, you know, and why would I let the thrill of the game? I mean, the when they played against Netherlands, that was really exciting. You know, the comeback, Netherlands comeback, and if I was gonna fix the game or if I bought the referee, I'm not letting you guys come back.
No.
Ask the ref. So hey, since Argentina is 2-0 up, you guys are never coming back. I'm make sure I call all kinds of fault.
Of course.
But it's like how and when they asked him, what do you mean by that? He said, I mean everything I say by that. That Messi had to become world champion. I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, did the stars align perfectly for it? Yes. Did it kind of feel like going into it? Not that it was going to be rigged, but like there was a little bit of buzz behind the Argentina squad, and the storyline of Messi, like this is probably the last opportunity. That's what made it inherently interesting. That's why everyone was talking about the story, and so I don't understand. And like Argentina was very good. They were not excellent at times though.
No, yeah,
and
definitely.
There were plenty of times where you could have seen them bouncing out too early. It didn't feel. It was poetic, but it didn't feel as if it was a manufactured moment.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's something that gets a lot of flack in the NFL. Not rigging matches, but trying to force certain storylines that are not directly related to the game at itself.
Yeah.
Oh, so and so might be leaving the team. They've got something to prove. It's like, well, they should have something to prove every week. So like instead of that, why don't you talk about the actual strengths and weaknesses of the matchup? Yeah. We try to make it sound more interesting by adding storylines in there. But one of the greatest to ever play the game, now the greatest to ever play the game, in his last World Cup, I mean, like, that's a reasonable storyline. That's good.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that if it does happen that it's rigged. It's just that's an obvious and important storyline in the game itself. So very silly. No one supports Van Gaal's claim here either. No one,
I've seen no one online,
professionals,
but
amateurs, they're all just like, well, like, why would you say that? This was a perfect opportunity to not say a word at all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's true. I wish it, because it's Van Gaal, man. The great guy from Ajax.
Yeah.
You know, and it's unfortunate when you get to that level and you can start making such claims, and now people don't see you as how they used to see you in terms of respecting you and respecting.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that extreme either. I think that in a couple of months, no one's
gonna weigh off.
No one's gonna talk about it anymore, and it's not enough to affect an entire body of work or legacy either. It's just kind of surprising on the face of it that someone that is that esteemed would say something so silly. And that's all it is at the end of the day. And they obviously have a personal issue. Definitely. Messi. So it's like, so that's also okay to be swayed by that a little bit, even if you are a professional, as long as you don't continue on like a conspiracy theorist or something. You know what I mean? No picket signs, no tinfoil hats or anything. But like, it's okay to say something crazy every once in a while if you're very motivated or very upset by something.
Well, I was thinking it might be because he's still salty about what happened during the game, him and Argentina. And it's like, well, it's it is what it is.
Yeah, that was moving on from that, it is sad. And like I said really fast, this is unrelated, but it's kind of related to the presentation of the show today.
Yeah.
I prefer club football so much more than international football.
For real?
Yeah, man. It
depends.
Most
on what.
people do, I think, as well. Like overall, if someone had to choose, would they
Oh.
rather watch league-based football or would they rather watch national-based? I feel I would say honestly, close to 75 or 80% of people would say, yeah, I prefer club football overall. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I have to ask someone else, not me.
Yeah.
Because for me, there's no distinction.
Yeah.
Especially when I watch world football internationally, I watch it with the lens of countries going toe to toe. Who is the best country? Right?
Yeah.
Instead of what club is the best club, because in the clubs you can have this. That's why when you win a World Cup or the Euro or the CONCACAF or the CAF, the idea of you being the best country is a little different than you being the best club, because in the clubs I can buy all players, right?
Yeah.
I can buy the best players. Of course, I still need good coaching. I need a chemistry. I need the players themselves to have a good flow. But the idea is, if you look at City, you can put Haaland, you can put KDB, you can put this guy there, you can put that guy, right? But in the World Cup, the international games, you don't have the ability to buy players that are best at their single position.
For most squads, depth is lighter on nationals until you get to Spain, Brazil.
Yeah, unless you have a golden generation, but with that being said,
they don't
it's
win
different.
that. Yeah, I was going to say, because Belgium had that 2 World
Belgium,
Cups going, didn't matter.
So it just becomes now we are proving that I am, and it's also an occasion for most players to show their skills or to show their worth, especially players that don't get enough playing time. Because
that is true. I do like that aspect of it.
In their country, the country might not have a player that's really good at as a left back. So guess what? The guy that's considered not an average player in the club gets to play I mean, look at James Rodriguez. We really know him in 2014 when he played, and he had the Puskas Award because he had the best goal of competition and all that. Then after that, he had a big contract with Real Madrid. So it's really where players that are not known or players that are looking to prove their worth have a shot. Yeah. So that's kind of how I see it. It's like there's no real difference for me. I just have to.
So I have heard this once or twice of people kind of saying like, this is why, maybe not in so many words, but like why they prefer club football.
Yeah.
Because there are so many international games that are, I don't want to say no stakes, but a lot of qualifiers, a lot of matches that don't really, even if you do win, you do move on slightly. But the idea of club football being so competition based, and then the Champions League, the knockout style tournaments, that not quite being year round with nationals, whereas I mean, like, you do have Euros, you do have the World Cup and whatnot, but like there are so many more matches going on the international level that don't immediately feel as make or break as the Premier League, as La Liga, as the FA Cup, as the Copa del Rey, as the Champions League. And so they kind of just feel like a lot of the international matches are kind of throwaway matches, which again, I don't mean that like
I see where you're
not
coming
that it's
from.
as important, but like week in, week out of the Premier League is very important, whereas like this past international break was just qualifiers. And so it's like there's not an immediate reward or super high stakes for the performances. I have heard that, and I agree to a certain point, but all matches are important overall.
Well, I think in Europe they created what you call there's another competition. So there was a lot of friendlies, and mostly when there are friendlies, and that's how you determine ranking for each here or whatever friendlies and competition the country plays. Right. That's why Belgium was for so long were at the top, because they used to win every friendly, every whatsoever, and sometimes it wasn't that competitive because players are not looking to get injured because they got to go
Right.
back to the club, so
And
they're
that's
not
also
really playing for it.
You hear that more often as well, and we base a lot of what we think on
Yeah.
what the players think and what they do. You see a lot of players that play both national and club based
Yeah,
take it easier or opt out of playing the nationals and use that as a break so they don't get injured for club. That is the player themselves prioritizing club football over national. And so if they think that, if they, by preserving their bodies, are suggesting that club football is more important, well, they're the ones actually playing the sport. So I think that is more important to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's their actions that are dictating, like their actions are telling us what they think about both competitions.
Yeah.
And if they are willing to put one over the other, who are we to potentially disagree with that? Because they're the ones putting their body through it, not us.
That is true. I think there's a competition that in Europe they created to kind of stop, because due to the fact that a lot of friendlies were played with no players were really excited to play, or they were giving their all, so it came about and it became so boring, so they created a competition. I'm trying to recall the competition. France won it the last time, and it's kind of their friendlies now, so it's more of a competition now than friendlies. So it just becomes unless it's Euro, unless it's the World Cup, then it's kind of difficult for
and Euros. The Euros are important, and it does feel like there's qualifying for years and years and years for a competition that happens every 2 to 4 years. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, there is a lot of time where we don't have to watch those matches.
Yes.
The qualifying lasts longer than the actual tournament themselves, so I don't really want to watch the qualifiers. I just want to watch the actual tournament. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Whereas there are 38 weeks in the Premier League, and that is like each one of those matter just as much because it's a point-based thing, not a playoff-based thing where you can get in at a lower ranking of the playoffs and get lucky. Yeah. Every single week is important.
I see.
Yep. You want to do the Ballon d'Or conversation?
No, the Ballon d'Or conversation is it's an interesting one. You know, the short list, I guess. I think Mbappe,
which is still kind of a long list. I'm looking at it right now. It is a short list, but it's like there's still like
Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and Messi are really the top three.
Yeah, of course.
We are just gonna cut it at that.
Yeah, you could make a very small argument for Kevin De Bruyne, not taking away from his skill.
Yeah,
just the fact that the other players, like you said, just have a bit more of a convincing argument for being on there. Because I mean, you even have guys like Emi Martinez on there. That's not gonna, come on. Again, not a knock. Jamal Musiala is on the list. How'd that happen? Kavicka Kvaratskhelia is on there.
Yeah,
again,
about?
Great, like two great players. Not saying that they're not, but
yes,
it's like the Academy Awards. Like before they render it down to what's actually on the ceremony, the list is massive. The list is unbelievable, and so you gotta chop it down a little bit more. They probably should chop it down a tiny bit more. But yeah, you're right. I would even say that Mbappe is not even seriously on the low. It's a 2-person battle.
Okay, let's get to the point. So a lot of people would say they think Messi should win.
Sure. Okay.
Right, which there's a strong argument, but in my eyes, there's still not. How will I say this? A lot of people are like, and this is most of the conversation. So Messi won the World Cup. He should be regarded, or he should be the guy winning the Ballon d'Or. And now I used to remember my dad or my uncle telling me this. He's like, there are few years that he's really excited about the Ballon d'Or just because of the fact that the people who vote sometimes go with who they like. And right now for the Ballon d'Or, it's really journalists voting. I think it's one per country. So they narrowed it down and they added some criteria like how he carry himself. Who cares about how the player carries it?
Yeah.
It should all about how good the player was on the pitch each day of the year that season, right?
Well, question then, because on that, I do agree that things like how he carries himself on and off the pitch, like to me that doesn't matter as much. What does matter is, yes, you're right, the performances, but then also the age of the player.
Okay.
Therefore, what is expected of them, and then at what level of competition are they performing at? So it's one thing for a 26-year-old, I'm just throwing out numbers here, for a 26-year-old to break the league on
Yeah.
scoring record.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I mean, like that's a big accomplishment. You are at that point. You are a player that's expected to be at or very close to your prime, and you did that in a league that is statistically not the highest in Europe.
Yeah.
Whereas Haaland, at his age, breaking the Premier League scoring record, that's very different.
That's a percentage of 1 goal per 77 minutes, and he did that in a year.
His first, he's young in his first Premier League season.
Yeah.
At the very top, because that is
no
the top league in the world.
Yeah, no adjusting
nothing.
to the league, nothing.
And so I'm not
Just
putting
coming
down
and destroying everybody.
Yeah, I'm not putting down the World Cup. Obviously, I'm not putting down Messi at all. That's not what I'm saying either. At his age, I don't know. It's like this guy winning the one prize that he never won at the very end of his career. That is beautiful. Would Messi have beaten that Premier League record in his first Premier League season at that age? That Haaland did it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Would he have done that? Because he never played in the Premier League. And I'm not saying that La Liga is nowhere close to the Premier League. It's clearly the second best league in the world, I think.
Yeah, but it's still the same, right? I'm not saying that too. I don't know because he never played there. But due to how players and statistics and how the leagues are being, how the leagues are structured and the style of play, it would have been difficult, yes. But a lot of people, I listen to ESPN, I listen to all these guys, and I feel like, especially on ESPN, most of the people talking about the Ballon d'Or, I feel like they have picked a side, they have chosen someone. It's not based really, like I listened to this one guy, also, Messi's a nice guy, he carries himself well, he's a good player. I was like, that don't matter to me.
You're not a sports analyst.
Yeah,
you sound like you're a talk show host. And
and even most people now, and I get that, because when you get to that level of star, right, like Ronaldo, Messi, you have more followers, you have more fans, and most of those people I don't even think they know about football, right? And they're more direct, or they're more driven with their emotions. It's I read a lot of comments, I listened to these guys, and they were like, oh, Messi should win because for years he haven't won the World Cup, and people will say, well, he can't win the World Cup, and now he won it.
He did,
so he should win the Ballon d'Or. I'm like, it doesn't matter, because the Ballon d'Or is not the best player of a month, right? Unless, because usually if a player wins that a year, it means when there's no discussion at all. Like if you look at Ronaldo of 2014, when he scores 67 goals, he becomes the best scorer in the Champions League, and he wins the Champions League. And they finished third, and they win the Copa del Rey, and he's, I think, the best scorer in La Liga too. Yeah. So
there was no competition there.
Yeah, there was no or Messi in 2008, where they won the Champions League, there was no competition. He was the best. And the year where he scored 91 goals too, unless it's those years where there's really no competition, where we can all clearly see who won, it becomes a little bit difficult. But now if we start breaking down and looking at what each player has accomplished that season, Messi, if you take his season, Paris Saint-Germain, he wasn't like this guy. He was just average there. He really shone in the Champions League, in the World Cup. All right, let's say he's Messi, he's the GOAT. He won all this, that. All right, in a month. Does that discredit what Haaland has done in a year? Year in, year out, because you take in Haaland has showed up in City, for Manchester City, in the Championship, in the league, in the Premier League,
everywhere. They won the treble. And he was a main reason for that.
Yeah.
He showed up more in the Premier League than he did in any other competition. No one's saying that he didn't.
Yeah. But he showed up in the Champions League too, and he was the best scorer. So you have two competitions where he's the best scorer with 12 goals. He shows up in the Premier League, picking all like the best score goals or whatever, and he was the best player, and he was the FIFA player of the year.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, am I picking just because I win the World Cup? Because if that's the argument, it means, and I've never been fan of people winning the World Cup and the year, even if they didn't do anything, they win. It's like Carvalho in 2000 and wasn't even Carvalho. It's I think Zambota in 2006 with Italy. They won the World Cup, but he did not merit that Ballon d'Or. He did not. And he was a defender. I mean, come on. How would you give him a defender?
People were obviously more excited to see Messi finally win the World Cup than they were wanting to actually look at the entire year.
Yeah.
To your point.
So it's more about how they want it, how they feel.
And it comes down to popularity as well. You can see the same thing in the arts, in filmmaking. More people that do not know the filmmaking process watch Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Those people are not the ones that are watching the films that are competing at the top festivals in Europe.
Yes.
They're just they don't know that. So when they are making assessments of films, it's mostly based on their personal feelings on the film.
Yes.
And that's why their criticism is as simple as, that was bad. That was good. I liked that.
Yeah.
Because their interest does not extend much farther than their ability to just enjoy content. So if they watch a film that they're confused by and they don't enjoy conventionally, they don't like that as much. They're like, oh, well, this Infinity War is still better because I had fun. And you're like, but the more that you understand, the more that you see that there's more to watching a movie than just having fun with it.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing where everybody knows Messi. So people that don't watch football on a day-to-day basis want to see him win. Get this final, because it is, whether you're a big fan or not, you know, because the storyline's been built around it. This is the last chance that he'll probably get to win a Ballon d'Or again.
Yes.
Just like it was the last chance to win a World Cup. And so you kind of want to do that because you think that's a poetic, beautiful send-off. But you start forgetting all the trophies that he's won since. You know what I mean? Like those people weren't watching in the late 2000s, early 2010s when it really was just Barcelona and Madrid, and Messi, Ronaldo for the Ballon d'Or. They weren't there for that. But Messi was winning those things around Haaland's age now because he was playing week in, week out that good. Messi is not playing week in, week out as good as he did at that age, and that Haaland currently is at that age. It's clear to me that those are the players that deserve this. Yeah. That are in that age bracket, that are playing at that level week in, week out, that do have something to show for it in trophies. And the treble, come on. The treble is more important.
I mean, you win the greatest competition in a single season, which is the Champions League. And one of the best leagues, if not the best league, the Premier League.
So we need to talk about that for a second as well. Since when is it a debate that the Premier League is the best? It's always been known that it is. And you have tons of, and I get it. A lot of Spaniards will argue, but that they're biased about it. But anyone that knows anything knows that on a team basis, all the teams in the league, because the first thing they'll say is, well, Barcelona and Madrid win more Champions League titles than any of the English clubs, and it's that is true. We're talking about the entire league, all 20 teams. The quality between all 20 teams in England is at a higher level. The competition is closer overall than in Germany, in La Liga, in Italy, based on all of the teams' talent put together. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so to me, there shouldn't be a debate about that anymore. Yeah. Winning the Premier League is more significant than winning La Liga.
That is true.
Because you're usually one of two teams competing for that title in Spain. And that's it.
Let me backtrack and take back what I said. It's Fabio Cannavaro. That's the guy who won 2006. And that was solely based on the Italian winning the World Cup. And he was a defender. Yeah. That's the craziest thing ever. Yeah. So just to say, at what point, right, if the player has such notoriety, such popularity, loved by, if not many of the analysts that claim to, or that's their job, I guess, does the criteria for winning change when it's someone they like? Because usually the Ballon d'Or it's the one that wins the Ballon d'Or. It's how you perform in the whole season. Not if I show up in 1 month. It doesn't nullify somebody that is showing up every single day for 1 year.
That's what the most valuable player for the World Cup is for. Because they have a best player of the competition for a reason. Played the best in that time. So win that and that's it. Be done.
Yeah.
Like that's it. You got that. You got that trophy. You got the MVP. You're good. This is a separate thing entirely. This is talking about an entire year.
Yeah. So I'm really interested to see who will win. And I know I was this morning listening to some journalists, and most of them were like, oh, well, and it's weird. Messi should win because the World Cup and he carries himself very well on the pitch. Who cares about how he carries himself? Yeah. Nobody cares about that. You should care about what he did on the pitch.
Yeah.
Off the pitch, no, I don't care.
And don't get me wrong, like if this guy's an amazing football player and then we find out that he's been secretly like robbing banks at gunpoint every week for 40 years, then obviously.
Yeah.
Like, we probably need to redact some of the trophies. But like, who cares if he shakes every hand at the airport? Like I'm not interested in that. But also, and you mentioned it about all of the reporters liking these guys. I think it's even further than that. I think it's just the fact that you don't have to like them or not. You just know them more than any other player.
Yeah.
Period. They get the most media coverage. The most casual fans know more about Messi and Ronaldo than they do about Erling Haaland. And that's just it. And like even the diehard journalists, like they still know more about Messi and Ronaldo than they do about Erling Haaland just because it's more media coverage. You know, as soon as you say, I think it's going to be Messi, more people are going to see that headline.
Yeah.
And get traffic to you. So it's like you don't even have to like the guy. You just have to talk about them.
Yes.
And it immediately we're gonna do it when this video goes up. Messi's name is gonna be somewhere in the title.
Yeah.
That's just,
definitely.
Like, it is what it is, but like it shouldn't be what's dictating your decision making for awards and performances. The performances are objective. You doing what you need to do to get media and foot traffic to your outlet is a completely different thing. And they're trying to act like they're not picking these guys because it benefits everyone involved just by mentioning the name.
That is true. Well, I'm interested to see who wins it. Let's see. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
me and Van Hal will get together and we will wear our tinfoil hats. Yeah. If Messi wins, if he wins this, it's rigged.
It definitely. If Messi wins it, I think Van Hal might have something to say about it.
Yep.
So let's see. Well, I just think if they go voting based on who they like, it's not a good affair. It's not good. Vote on the basis of who performed the best during the season itself, the whole season, not just 1 month. Yeah. I don't get to show up in a month and be the best player. In the world,
especially when the tournament and like I'm not one of the ones that put any caveat on the change in the timeline. Yeah, because like it was a December-based World Cup. Would never want to do that again.
Yes,
I hated that.
No, that's not good.
It was a shorter time frame. It really cut into the season. It made the season feel like it lasted 1,000 years. And it has to be in the summer. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So but like some people were saying, oh well, they caught. Argentina caught everyone else off guard because of the turns. Like,
no,
they all played the same timeline. Like, what are you talking about? They didn't benefit from that. What that might have done was that might have put certain squads in disarray.
Yeah,
it might have had certain people not be able to train as much. Like nobody got an advantage from the entire tournament being moved that way.
That is true.
It might have, it might have shuffled the deck a little bit more, but no one, I think, got a benefit from that. So shut up about that.
Well, this week, what's up with the MLS? That's why I'm really so confused about the MLS still, because they're still playing when everybody's on break. I guess not a lot of the players are called in their teams, but
because I mean but even then, not all the teams played.
Not all the teams played.
No, it was because we talked about that as well, because we had anticipated until we really started looking at the schedule again to talk about Nashville. Yeah, because we usually talk about Nashville if we're talking MLS, and they didn't play. I think there were 3 matchups this weekend, so 6 teams in total played.
Yes,
the rest didn't.
They didn't play because the US had a game in nationally, or why?
I don't know.
Oh,
it looked like a light schedule. Wow. And it's the thing, like if nationals are playing, no club football should be able to be played.
Yeah, it just takes away from the attention of watching this and that, and you playing for your country. That's where the attention should be based.
Yeah. Well, and like, so the Premier League was off, so they didn't have to worry about, well, am I going to play? Like if it's Salah, like am I going to play for Liverpool this weekend, or am I going to play for Egypt? It's like having to choose. They didn't have to choose, but like someone somewhere had to choose.
Yeah.
If a matchup took place, there are a lot of Mexican and a lot of American players in the MLS.
Yes.
And if I guess maybe CONCACAF didn't have any nationals this weekend. I don't really know, but like someone somewhere is European
Yeah.
that played in the MLS this weekend. They might have had to choose. Like obviously being a bench player because you're playing in the MLS, it is what it is. But like they shouldn't be able to do that.
Yes.
Like it should be cut. Like there is no club competition. Any national team that is guaranteed to be playing this weekend, like what are you going to prove that there are no Ecuadorian guys in your squad? So like you're still your game's still on. Like I just don't get that.
I think the US played Uzbekistan on Saturday, so
Okay.
that was a friendly, and they have to play Oman again. So I don't know if that might be the reason why Nashville
Because it was just a friendly and not like a competition.
no, it's just friendly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
because when it's a really international break, right, a lot of countries, if they're not playing, like in Africa right now, they are qualifying for the CAF, which is the African Nations Cup.
Yep.
And in Europe, they're qualifying for the Euro.
Yeah.
So a lot of countries that don't have qualification per se will instead play the friendlies. So and that it doesn't give much wiggle room to players that would be playing and taking because at the end of the day you want the viewership and the attention directed towards your league. So it kind of takes away a little bit.
Yeah.
Either we just take a break and just go about the international games and just come back, and because I don't know, but MLS
you had a Messi-less Inter Miami for the weekend.
So what do you think? Do you think that since Messi got to Inter Miami, was it with Jordi Alba and Busquets at the same timeline? But since he got there, do you think that he made the team as a whole better? Because he didn't play this weekend, but they still won.
They still looked well,
and they still looked good. Campana
they
made
looked
his thing.
They looked okay.
He did his thing.
They looked very flashy.
Yeah.
With differing results at times. Yeah, I mean they looked fine. They're playing against Kansas City, not a great side at the moment. A lot of missed chances, but a lot of attempts at some beautiful play.
Yeah.
And then you start realizing, oh well, wait, this isn't Barcelona, so this doesn't work. And but yeah, and again, even if it does work, it's against Kansas City.
Yes.
So, I mean, they looked fine. Absolute howler from the Miami goalkeeper, though.
Okay.
The deflection. Do you remember that? He goes.
Oh,
to,
yeah.
Yeah, he goes to catch the pass, but like
And
and
he goes-
sometimes you do just knock it away or let it die at your feet. But it bounced another 4 or 5 yards back
And that's
and
how
got
this-
cleaned up,
yeah.
and it's like, oh my god, that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, some good-looking goals, but at the end of the day, inconsequential matchup. Miami's not going to the playoffs.
Can Messi?
No, because it's not just based on his performance. If it was just based on if Miami has to win all of their games,
Yeah.
then maybe. But if it's Miami has to win every game and 4 of these teams have to almost lose every game, it's not happening. It's not in his control that much anymore. The point difference is so far away
Yeah.
that like I said, it's not just about them making up points. Other teams have to drop as many points as Miami has to gain, and Messi doesn't have control of that.
Well, so I guess the question become, do you think they can win every single game and perhaps have a shot at the playoffs?
They don't have that many games left. I think they have like 6 games.
Yeah.
So it's possible for them to win 6 straight. I could also see them, again, you're talking about winning, or are you talking about winning and drawing? You're talking about
I'm just straight winning.
It just
So
doesn't
the
seem
question
that
will be,
likely.
can Messi take Inter Miami to the playoffs?
No. He
You
cannot.
don't believe
He
so?
cannot. No. Especially if that goalkeeper has one more mistake like that.
Yeah.
There are just so many things outside of the control. If it only boiled down to all Messi has to do is score goals and win these games, I would
Yes.
say, you know what? If there's any player in the world still that can do that, it would be him.
You will bet on Messi, yeah.
But there's just like I said, there's so many other things that have to happen. Like they can't draw. The other teams cannot,
Lose.
Like they have to lose all these games. Even if they draw and get 1 point, that might be enough to keep Miami from being, from getting in. So other teams will have to play as bad
Yeah.
as Miami have to play flawless.
Okay.
And those two things put together are what make that impossible to me.
That's pretty interesting.
If it was closing a 6-point gap or something, maybe.
Yeah.
They really are closing like a 15-point. You're like, okay, wow. Like, what are the exact numbers? You have the score. You have an app. Because I have to turn my phone off for this broadcast.
I probably did too, but
Yeah.
what are you asking?
Just the Eastern Conference table to see the exact point difference of like how many points every other team above them have to drop, and then how many points do Miami have to obtain as well.
You never know. Miami can they can probably make it.
No.
Well, I think was it 3 weeks ago or something. I think they asked Beckham or something. But there's this thing going on online, right? It's same thing for last year. I think a player, I forgot which player, especially an NFL player. He said the NFL has a script. And it kind of went on, and people started making jokes. And even if you see the commercial, the NFL commercial, you will see like them reading the script or whatever. So a lot of people,
I have seen that commercial.
Yeah, it's about what the player said last year. He said the NFL has a script, so we already know the winner. They already know the winner before it's being played. It's the same thing. So I think online, probably one more, it's still online. That is there a script in the MLS since Messi has arrived? Because guess what? Since he has arrived, he's been winning.
Right. I'll tell you what. There's one way to prove that the MLS isn't scripted. All the times they fucking miss their shots.
Okay.
I see too much sloppy play in the MLS to say it's scripted. If you were to say the Premier League is scripted, I would still say you're a fool. But at least those guys are absolutely skilled enough to make a fake shot look good.
Yeah.
Or a botched shot or a good block look good. Too much clumsy play in the MLS where it's like, oh, they're trying their hardest.
Yes.
They're just not at that top level.
So this is the group A and group B. I guess that's East. So that, yeah.
Yeah. So let me see. They've got.
We're thinking about him bringing Inter Miami to the playoffs. And what if he did?
No. Yeah.
What if it happened?
I'm just telling you, it's not.
I think if that happens, that will be something very, very, very. I'm talking about that.
So yeah, there's like a 14-point difference.
That's a huge one. And
so that's what I'm saying. Like, not only do they have to get those points, nobody else can get a single draw. So there's just no way. There's no way. We got to assume that everyone at the top of the table lose every game straight, and Miami win every game straight. That, my friend, that would be rigged. We would be back here in a couple of weeks talking about how rigged the MLS is if they get in. I don't care if they get into the wild card. I don't care.
Yeah, if they just get in, it's something happening.
Something's going on.
It might be the Messi script. How about that?
They're going to be like, all right, Miami won. Put the sniper rifles down.
What? Yeah.
Like, it's like who's at the top of that stadium in Miami with the scope just locked in? Like, it's terrifying.
Wow. Well, let's see how.
We can also talk about how hectic next week is going to be as well.
Yeah.
Because it was funny because this was kind of a light week in terms of news to where when I was writing up my notes for today's episode, a lot of what I ended up writing down was not what happened this weekend, but how insane next week's going to be. So we can break into that in a second anyway, because we've covered the Ballon d'Or talk as well.
Yes, but next week, I mean, there are exciting games, but I mean, what game are you looking forward to? In the Premier League.
Premier League. So in the Premier League, you've got West Ham and Man City. Because your boys, they've got to win this game, otherwise they won't make top 6.
That's true, but the league, it's not yet finished. It's just the full.
Hey, I'm just saying, they're gonna need all the help they can get because they're,
I mean, and they have
talking
players.
about top 6 over here.
They have players. They have great players, and we might make it.
we might make it.
Yeah, I am with them. What you mean?
So Premier League wise, on Saturday we have West Ham and Man City. Sunday, not the best matchup, but if you want to watch one of the big 6 teams play, Arsenal versus Everton, that seems pretty straightforward of what's going to happen there.
You think Arsenal is going to win?
I would assume so. That would be a
Everton
very
is- yeah.
that would be a very bad match to drop points in.
Okay.
And then right after that, skip Monday, Tuesday. Now we've got AC Milan and Newcastle and PSG and Dortmund in the Champions League.
Yeah.
The next day after that, we've got Bayern versus United and Arsenal versus PSV, which is a Europa League matchup from last year.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 episodes coming out this week. And then also US Premier League specialty. But on Friday, Bayern versus Leverkusen.
Yeah.
And then
Ooh,
Saturday,
that's a good
you had the
one.
Milan derby.
I'm actually excited for the Milan derby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not excited to potentially watch 2 AC Milan matches in 1 week, let alone 4 days. But we'd done the math. I think I have, if I'm going to watch this entire schedule that I've made, that's 6 matches in 6 days.
Ooh.
That's a lot. And with intent to watch full, not highlight packages or skipping around. But yeah, we need to figure that out.
The
But
weekend is pretty it's pretty massive. So I guess
yeah,
you're definitely talking about the Milan derby.
yeah.
Definitely.
We got to take this last weekend a little bit lighter, and
Yeah.
we're going to be on absolute fire this next week. So it's going to be wild.
Wow.
But it's also our first 2 upload week. We're gonna have 2 shows in 1 week this coming week.
Oh yeah, because of the Champions League, I keep forgetting that. So
Yep.
that
Which again, for people that are listening, we do the weekend roundups on Mondays, and for that are then released on Tuesday mornings. We'll likely be doing Champions League shows Thursday.
yeah.
So on the Europa League match day, and instead of having them set for a morning release, I might release that one that night.
Okay.
That seems like what the plan would be. Yeah, these are fun little production meetings. I'm glad that you guys could sit in for that. Yeah, tons of matchups, tons of
I would tell you what, the matchup that I'm waiting for is on Wednesday, September 20th, 2023, Manchester United against Bayern Munich. I want to see how the matchup against the big guys. I want to see what's going to change, especially them playing in Champions League. I want to see what difference will they be making. So especially with that team that's really shaky.
Yeah.
And hopefully they don't get eviscerated by Bayern Munich and just lose all confidence.
I will
It
say
seems like that's what Bayern Munich might do.
they very well could. I do think that it will help them having Antony out of the side.
Yeah.
It looks like, and then this whole issue, we probably could have talked about that as well, but I don't really want to get into it. The Eric Ten Hag versus Jadon Sancho
Yeah.
debacle. It looks like he is now 3rd or 4th down the pecking order. Garnacho is now their starting,
Yes.
one of their starting forwards. So you've got this potential with Garnacho, Rashford, and Højlund. And we've talked about that before. I think we talked about it in the last episode. That
Yes.
front 3, that's a good-looking front 3, truly.
That is
With
yeah.
Højlund in the middle, Rashford on the left, and Garnacho on the right. That's not a bad little setup there, truly. So, again, you would expect Bayern to take that one through, but
The question becomes, especially with United, is Ten Hag the problem? Oh, because now he can't really say he doesn't have a good team. I mean, there are players that are good players. It's all about how you.
Johnny Evans.
Yeah. Nah,
kidding.
no way.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, he's in the squad.
Oh, okay.
So is Harry Maguire.
Yeah. So
I'm kidding. I know what you're saying.
I just want to see. I just want to understand what's the problem right now. Is he the problem? Because now it looks like we might all come to the conclusion that he might have been the problem.
He might have been. He says some weird things, and when your team loses, and Jose Mourinho is a good example of this. When Jose Mourinho's team loses, he is always going to defend his players. He will always criticize a referee decision before criticizing his own player, but he's not afraid to criticize his own player as well. And what you see in that is you see a coach, Jurgen Klopp does it as well, where he is mad at potential things that got in the way of his team's chance at victory.
Yeah.
But he won't immediately say, we did everything perfectly either.
Mhm.
Eric Ten Hag seems to want to cast blame everywhere but within his own squad at times.
Yeah, I think that's what Sancho said.
He
that
makes
he
weird,
was.
he makes weird excuses
Yeah,
for
he
things.
is. He feels like he's the scapegoat or something. So Yeah, something like that. So I don't know.
But Ten Hag, and I've never understood that either with this Jadon Sancho thing. I guess we will talk about it for a second. I wasn't seeing Ten Hag complaining about Sancho. I was seeing Ten Hag casting aspersions on referee decisions, like saying that the Onana foul wasn't a red card.
Yeah.
Whether or not you support the keeper or not, you don't need to say that.
Yes.
Like, you obviously don't want your keeper to have a red card, but you don't have to say, clearly that's not a foul, because clearly it was a foul. He just says dumb things like that, where former players are like, does he know how the sport works? Like, seriously, like it's like, I understand, like, standing up for your guys and criticizing other things that maybe your players couldn't control, but at the end of the day, still saying, we have to go play. Like we still have to win this game for us. We can't base our winning and losing on a referee's decision.
Yeah.
Because we didn't play well enough. If it comes down to your decision, we did not play well enough. But Ten Hag seems to really want to make weird excuses that don't really make much sense. Okay. And he's never bringing his own team up at the same time. He's always just saying, well, that rule was stupid. If you look at the foul, and they're like, no, we did look at it. That's why we're saying, what the fuck are you talking about?
So, reading, I just pulled up this article. Reading this article, it says, so Ten Hag claimed that Sancho was not included in the squad that played against Arsenal.
Because he wasn't playing well in training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sancho said, well, he's just making him a scapegoat. So,
tons of managers have said that. But also, we assume...
Is it the frustration because Sancho is not being played, or because Ten Hag? Because one of the things he's saying is just he's doing that for the media and diverting attention.
Because we all know this. If a player is not selected in a squad, but like, we assume it's because they didn't perform well enough in training. The reason that they are not in the squad is because the people that were in the squad performed better in training. This is so simple. So for Sancho to say, well, he's making me a scapegoat, it's like, you're obviously not fucking playing well enough. Like, I see it when you're on the pitch. You're not playing well enough. And if you're not starting, or you're not even in the lineup, like, it shows that you are not playing that well. But also, why does Ten Hag need to say that?
Yeah, like, that's not the thing you go on and say.
If someone asks, why is Sancho not in the squad, you just go like, why do you think he's not in the squad?
Yeah, you can't just make, can't just go out and say outlandish stuff, especially with players in your squad.
Yeah.
That creates a lack of confidence, lack of trust.
Well, because and like I said, it's not that we don't know that he's not playing well.
Yeah.
It's that it's obvious if someone's not selected, they're not playing well. So you as a manager don't have to say that. You say that by not selecting him. You don't have to say a word about that. So
now the next thing that we would be looking forward to, since Anthony has all these allegations going on, will he play Sancho? Because now there's less competition on that wing. Now, if he doesn't, who will he play? And if he plays someone else than Sancho, would that mean he's giving Sancho the Cristiano Ronaldo treatment?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, unless there's an injury, I don't see why a Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho lineup is not what you do. Okay. Someone has to get injured for me to think Sancho has to find his way in there, because I don't see him performing better in training or in a game, wherever.
But you haven't watched it. You haven't seen the training, so you don't know.
It's true. It's true. But you know who has seen all the training? The guy that makes the fucking squad, and he didn't put him in there. So like, you know what? I'll take his word for it on that one, because you might not be the best manager, but if you see someone playing better than the other and you don't start him, then yeah, you're a bad manager. But if you don't start him, I assume it's because they're not playing as well. Yeah, like I said, unless there's an injury, I don't see him making room for Sancho against those three at all. Who would you play on the left and right? Would you rather Rashford on the left and Garnacho on the right? Who has the better left foot between the two?
Well, Rashford is really good on his left.
He is naturally a right foot, though, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, being naturally right foot, cutting in and coming from the left is better for you, because it's easier for you to score and manage the ball.
So then, I would assume Rashford would stay on the left. He does seem to perform better over there anyway.
Yes, and I've always voted for him. I think it's weird because I feel like Rashford has been the most misunderstood player when he started his career in terms of manager knowing how to play.
Yeah.
him because he has a lot of talent. And even I always said I feel like he never got the chance to really unlock his potential.
And he's never been the best finisher. So putting him at the number 9 doesn't make much sense.
Yes. So I don't know why people always
Yeah.
try to put him there whereas he's good on his left or on the wings. Then you might get more out of him. And I feel like if he had been playing on the left wing for most of his career, then we will have gotten to the point where we see the best version of Rashford.
But where was Anthony going to play? Where was Martial going to play?
Well, screw them.
I'm kidding. Yeah, but it's like putting Sterling at the number 9 and then going like, well, he's an awful player. Why doesn't he finish? And it's like, because that's not what he does.
That's true.
Why is Van Dijk not scoring all these goals on the right wing? Sorry,
that's
what?
Not,
that's
not
ridiculous.
His position, so
yeah,
but just kind of stop that.
There is an insistence on playing people out of their preferred position, and yes, you are the coach. You tell them where to play, but also you can't get blood from a stone. So why would you've never heard that expression before?
No.
Okay. like getting some, like trying to ask for something.
But
that's
I understand
impossible.
that. Yeah.
Like, you want your player to say, yes, coach, like I will do the best that I can for you, but you have to understand that their best changes based on where they're playing. If you want the absolute best out of them, you need to be listening to where they prefer.
Well,
not giving them everything that they ask for, period.
Yeah.
But yeah, like our objective is to make you the best player that you can be. Where do you feel most comfortable? We have to work you in there.
Well, the thing about the modern day football where each player can take the position of another player, it's not like that's really good. But the problem with that, it comes back for me, it's more about the striker, because you can do that with like all your back third can do that in between them. So like a central back, you see that with Camavinga. Sometimes he's a CDM, sometimes he's a left back. So like you can do that, right? But with the forward third or the away third, it's kind of, you could do that with your wings, but I feel like it is difficult, especially on the striker, just because sometimes you have teams that, like, look at Arsenal. Arsenal doesn't have it. That's why they keep rotating. Like for them, I understand, because they don't have a great striker.
They've made a point. They've built a team around that fact. It's not that they are like forcing someone to play a role they're not skilled at. They say, we don't have that natural player. This is how we will all move accordingly to accommodate that.
Yeah.
And it does seem to be getting some good results.
Now, if you look at City, because now they have Erling Haaland, there's no way they will play Erling Haaland on the wing. There's no way.
I'd be curious to see it.
Like it wouldn't go well, because he's not good at. I'm not saying that I've potentially probably never seen him, but he's not good at making plays. He's more of a finishing people's play guy. So you don't want him to be that guy that's gonna be making the plays, because he's not that technical.
Yeah,
you don't want
nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah, so that like if you have that guy, it becomes difficult. Now, if you put this guy on the as a striker and he doesn't produce that much, his goal conversion ratio is really less to minimal. Don't play him at that position. Yeah, but also, who has Arsenal? I mean, Manchester United got to be playing as a striker. That's probably why they keep insisting, because he might be your best choice.
And it's too early to say, obviously, but that Højlund kid looks.
No, Højlund. It looks now that they have Højlund,
be the answer.
I feel like if they get some good chemistry and just the feel, the form, and all the players get to that level, now I feel like United might get to play their game.
And it might be a controversial observation, but I think that them playing Fernandes up higher has hurt them a little bit. They're playing him in like a number.
He's committing too high,
like a 10.
Yeah,
and
he's committing too high.
He is a sitting back farther, dictating pace, threading passes through. He's not quick enough, and I don't think he's attacking minded enough to be a part of the actual build up for the attack. He's the one that's sending the balls out for build up. He is more of an 8 than he is a 10. And I think that it's affected their pace. And I think that separating him that far from guys like Casemiro really stops the midfield pace.
Mm-hmm.
And Eriksen was a good player.
Yeah.
And he could still go to another league and play well. I'm not saying that he couldn't. I do think that he is a bit of a step behind for the Premier League. And I think that having him kind of slow down the pace at the midfield and then having Fernandez up too high to where he can't contribute with that factor as well is why they feel so disconnected from the attack and the rest of the play.
Yeah, well, they got to, but like if you played, I feel like they just have to add. They just acquired a new midfielder, right? What was the name? Because I feel like either Casemiro don't have to commit that high,
Right. Yeah.
he just got to be like
He was never that player anyway.
link up, between him and Fernandez, just committing high when there's really a counterattack.
Yeah.
But not every single time, because now it takes away from the midfield itself. Because
Yeah.
you can see how every time they do that, the midfield is really empty. It's
Yeah.
really empty. And
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, Casemiro and Fernandez need to be holding down the midfield, and that third midfielder that right now is Eriksen, but should be someone else. That's the person that can make a forward run
yeah,
to be part of the build-up, or to sit back and have more lateral space to open up an option for somebody else. But like, kind of have that. Honestly, have him play the way that Arteta is hoping Kai Havertz develops into.
yeah,
'Cause he's on the left wing of the midfield, but he'll run up into the front line and try to, and like, he's not doing that well.
yeah.
And Eriksen wouldn't do that well either, but they need someone that's a bit more attacking minded with some pace that can move up, and Casemiro and Fernandez can kind of slide in together and hold down the center of the park. That would work, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do I know? All right. I mean, is there anything else?
No, I think that was
it, man.
it for today.
That's it. Light week, but still, I mean, like, we just talked for an hour.
Oh, wow.
Wild. But yeah, so we will be back next week, twofold, so 2 episodes,
Yeah.
with way more to do. I'm dreading, it's like, it's really sad when you no longer look forward to the weekend sometimes, because there's just so much stuff that you have to watch.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I do enjoy it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it, but it is kind of funny that it's like, you hang out with you gonna hang out with friends? Nope. I've got to watch like 5 hours of football today and 3 tomorrow.
And watch it another time.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But
I don't like recording and rewatching. It just kills the purpose for me, because I'm gonna go search for the score.
yeah,
Because I'm not. That's why I do speed of watching, because how will I say it? I like to know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
I just don't like to stay in the suspense for too long. That's not me.
We're going to release a special episode where you're just going to talk about your speed watching method.
Hey, I'm going to teach them the techniques.
And yeah, and everyone's going to see that you're an absolute maniac. And it's going to be amazing. But all right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Like I said, 2 episodes next week. Peace.